Hey, Santi. We have been asked to contribute to this conversation about collaboration, to comment on 10 statements that Jennifer Torrance and Roberto Maqueda has written. It's 10 statements on composer-performer collaboration today, and they have invited several artists and ensembles to give their thoughts on these statements. And since our project is in many ways related to the topics here, they wondered if we wanted to say something from our experience and thoughts and perspectives. And we would love to do that.
Yay!
Jag tycker det är kul med sånt som improviserat och kontinentalt. Det tycker jag också. Jag tror att jag typ försöker spela så ganska ofta. Att det så här ska vara att jag vet ungefär vad det är, men att det ska kunna så här sticka iväg. Typ.
Ja.
So, statement number 4 is there is no correlation between collaborative methods and the quality of the resulting artwork.
I think it's like, of course, there's correlation between how you work and what you end up with. But another question if it's a systematic correlation. So does collaborative method have some kind of fingerprint on the resulting artwork? If it's a systematic correlation, or if it's like, of course, the method will influence the result always, whatever method you choose. But if it's a systematic relationship between these things.
There is also, of course, something you have to let go of when working in a group. But it's difficult to know if you can always hear it in the result, the music that's played.
Yeah, and that also points to what's the motivation behind the method that's chosen. Like, as you say, Vilde, you have to let go of some things, and if you take the initiative to work in a group, then maybe controlling every dynamic is not your priority and not your main interest, because then you would maybe have chosen a different way to work. So
I mean, it's it's as we have understood it. I mean, it doesn't take less time to compose together. So what does actually a close collaboration between musician and composer mean? And is it really possible to compose together? Why is that a good idea? Can we manage to be totally equal in the process of composing? And what do I have to let go when collaborating with the others? In Center for kollektivt skapande, we explore and develop methods to compose together as a group. Closer collaborations between musician and composer are a relevant working method nowadays. This project will be our contribution to this development.
Meeting September 17, 2018. Established structures and roles often shape collaborations, even when none of the participants have actually chosen it. Everybody wants to appear professional and give the impression of being in control. Because of this, it's easy to fall into established working methods and norms, without this benefiting neither the composer, musician, nor the music. Maybe a lot of this is about proving that we're in control. It's important to have a lot of time if one wants to create new patterns.
Och det var så skönt också när vi landade i att det blev någonting konkret typ, tycker jag.
Ja.
Det var så här, men vi vill att alla ska vara likställda typ.
Ja, precis. Och så hitta metoder istället för att ta den där lite så här luddiga förklaringen av vad samarbete är.
Ja.
Att nu går vi verkligen på djupet.
Och bara sånn, vad betyder det egentligen?
We, Lo Kristensson, Tove Bagge, Inga Aas and Vilde Alnes created Center for kollektivt skapande primarily because we wanted to explore the relation between musician and composer in the process of composing. The work is based on personal experiences from the music scene. Lo is educated as a composer, and Tove, Inga and Vilde are educated as musicians. So number 7. New collaborations can follow pre-existing models, but rarely do. Each collaboration demands a specific dialogue between those involved for the purpose of agreeing upon the collaborative methods and resulting authorship.
I mean, we brought some methods or ideas from other situations that we had used before individually, but then from it always also took its own turn, and yeah, I could never repeat. I mean, although we are making these methods the complete way, like the kind of the total way we did everything can never be repeated, obviously.
Like that we're made kind of, or try to make kind of framework for then that people can use and then have their own individual way of doing it.
Yeah, but still it's not like one method to use when you collaborate. And there will always be like, they will work differently with different kind of people.
Log from artistic residency at Palazzo Stabile, day 5.
We realized that we have been using the same working method the last couple of days and that we got stuck in our roles. Since we are currently in a part of the process where we try out sounding musical material by playing it, and since Lo hasn't got a written part, her role appeared to be outside the ensemble. She was put in a more traditional composer's role.
Lo has a lot of experience with being the outside eye, giving feedback and then providing suggestions and ideas for where to go next. Because of this, she can seem more self-confident and decided on her ideas than she actually is. Lo and Inga says that even though one suggests an idea, it doesn't mean that one thinks it's a good one. It will need to be tried out before one can know.
Jag har svårt att se framför mig hur det ska gå till praktiskt att kunna vara så tydlig med sina idéer när man själv inte haft tid att tänka igenom det riktigt. För att det är ju mycket så vi jobbar, att vi kommer på saker när vi är tillsammans liksom.
Exakt.
Att man inte har hunnit liksom formulera det i sitt huvud för att man inte har jobbat med det själv liksom.
Men liksom når det plutselig er 3 andre, og det er ofte sånn at du sier kanskje noe, så får jeg en idé på det du sier, og så kommer jeg til og med innspill på din. Altså at det blir veldig kollaborativt, og det noen ganger leder det jo frem til en annen idé da, enn det noen kommer opp med enkeltvis, men at det også er ganske sånn kaotisk på en måte i akkurat den, når det er 3 stykker som sitter og er uspesifikke.
Ja, alltså att vi har varit inne på det här med roller. Man kan också ha så att nu är det en som får testa sina idéer, skulle det kunna vara. Eller då att det är en som sammanfattar.
Method. After listening or playing, everyone can individually write down ideas and thoughts. Sometimes the need to share the ideas is mainly to remember it for the future, even though it's not needed at that moment. Writing down the ideas is also a way to articulate them better and to get an overview, so one can assess what is most useful to share and explore further with the group. The 9th statement is: a collaborative piece becomes unique in its creation and interpretation due to the specific participation of each artist.
So, and I think a collaboration needs to be agreed on that both parts are in it.
Because you could also make a piece, you could also, like, one composer could make a piece for someone without it being collaborative. It would still not be collaborative if I made it, although it was tailored for Vilde. So also the artist can have a strong influence on the piece without it being collaborative.
But that's only if you talk about the piece being only the score, in a way. Because when you play, you still shape the piece as a performer.
Yeah, but I also think about this, that we have talked a lot about, that we have experienced in different situations, this kind of feeling of resistance, and that's between the composer and performer, and that they are like have these silent fights against each other about who's right, and that both feel not evaluated or like
Vi kan stå så här också. Så blir det, nej.
Det är bra att stå liksom likt så att vi får ett intryck av,
precis. Så.
av balansen.
Ja.
Så visst.
Okej, jag vill börja. Jag ska gå och dricka lite.
Det kändes jättekonstigt att stå så här.
Jag svängde andra så en gång. Det var så nära, för det var liksom ett ökat publikum. Okej. Och utan ett sådant experiment som liksom skjuler där lite. Vi tog en till som vi sa.
Ja, det gjorde vi. Yes.
Men jag har lite lust att bara
Ja, okej, vi kör. Ja. Kan vi inte bara få en ton så att vi känner att det är rätt?
But it's also about like just the process again, the process of being creative together. I think, at least in our way of working, that's, I think everybody all here likes to work together. And not just about the ending result. It's a way of making music together.
So here is the third statement of the 10. A musical work can no longer be understood as being contained in a score alone. The score is no longer the entire work. The work itself is a compendium of resources and performances. So that could mean that we agree on the work itself, or actually more like the score itself is a compendium of our work method in a way.
And it's almost as if it's not one work in our project, because we wanted the process to be a substantial part of the work. So we had this idea about making these methods and trying to observe what we were doing in the process. So that's almost like one work for itself.
And that we have all the images and scores from different parts of our process, and it shows so much that we have like gone through different techniques and different inspirations. So it also shows like how much time has passed in the process also. Kind of.
Ja, jag tycker det är en bra diskussion också det med om man är bara ett verktyg liksom. För då blir det också lättare att vara sån där, ja men nu behöver jag ett tydligare förslag på vad jag ska göra till exempel. Ja, men också det där med att när vi sitter och kommer med idéer så här muntligt, att då blir så mycket upp till utövaren att ha en tydlig bild i huvudet. Att det kanske skulle kunna vara till hjälp att rita ner eller skriva ner. Att man har en gemensam bild. Det hade varit kul att testa. Så om det blir någon skillnad. För då jobbar man också på en visuell idé parallellt som är gemensam också. Ja.
Jeg håper også vi klarer å igjen, og det tror jeg vi kommer til å gjøre, men å lage et stykke som er virkelig sånn, jeg vet ikke, den der tryggheten på scenen, og hvor det er komponert, at på en måte det skal få være rikt på detaljer, samtidig som vi kan ha den friheten, og følelsen av flyt og frihet, og liksom ganske ofte kan savne i veldig sånn notert samtidsmusikk. Liksom klare å få disse feltene til å møtes på et eller annet vis. Ja. Uten at det blir sånn overnotert partitur. Ja. Med, ja. At det hadde vært veldig kult om det blir noe som oppleves veldig intuitivt for musikerne, men igjen har de det, ja. Det är liksom inte bara sån öppna rammer.
Ja, jag tycker det ska bli jättespännande att känna. Det kanske inte går för oss att känna riktigt, men att, så här, att det är skrivet av flera. Hur kommer det? Ja. Och så här, att jag tänker mig att typ, när jag tänker med partituret, att det kommer vara så här massa olika stil. Alltså att det skulle vara så fint om man verkligen såg det. Att det var så olika handstil eller olika färger. Eller jag vet inte. Också i musiken att det känns som att vi har en väldigt så här bra sammanhållen helhet i gruppen. Men också att få just alla de här olika dragen liksom, på plats. Men jag också, det är som att jag har någon bild av partituret, att det är som en så här, det är så här klippt och klistrat.
But it's also interesting, I just had a thought when reading this statement, like, can you hear a difference between a piece written in a collaborative way or one that isn't? Because I think much, it also depends on the receiver of the piece, and like, do you listen differently if you know that it's written by one person or by many?
Often also it comes with a certain aesthetic. Like, for example, there are these male composers that create these very advanced scores, and the musicians are very like hardworking. And then there are these collaborative that I mean, sometimes you can also tell by just listening to the aesthetics of the music. So it's kind of hard to I don't know.
It's very hard to know where these things start and yeah.
And also I realized that collaborative methods, it's a big spectrum. Like, we took it quite far, is my impression. I guess that when you go as far as we did, it will somehow, or why would you do that if you wouldn't want that to influence the end result?
Yeah, I also think it's a way of thinking of about what is the musical result? Is it our experience as a group and as performers and as artists? Is that also like a part of the experience of the musical piece?
Det åpner liksom et nytt rom, tenker jeg, for hvordan man kan tenke samarbeid utøver komponist. Fordi partitur noe som i mange 100 år har vært skrevet av en person. Altså det å ta utøveren faktisk inn i partitur, altså det en både symbolsk, men også sånn rent praktisk, så tror jeg at det noe som kan kanskje få andre til å innse at man kan tenke ganske mye dypere på det med å jobbe sammen.